Greetings, student. It is a pleasure to be with you very quickly this morning. I just wanted to uh, go over a couple of things with you for the purposes of clarification. I hope by now you're working through the slideshow. By this point, a lot of students who are ministerial minded want to complain a little bit about the amount of philosophy type things that are in this particular section of it. I try to, in this class, keep it to a minimum, but I think you probably have noticed that there are some there. But I also wanted to go over the position paper, just because there is still just a little bit of confusion from just a few of you. But first thing I want you to understand is what it's not. It is not a research paper. We don't need any kind of cover pages. We don't need any kind of research notes, no footnotes, no anything like that is normally reserved for a research type paper. What I want you to do is within 300 to 325 words, I want you to be as precise and concise and articulate your particular pattern, your particular position, but it must be biblically supported. Now, within that framework, we don't want major quotations. For instance, if you're going to do something on and make a comment about love, I don't want you to put the entire 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians in there. I want you to summarize everything and be, again, as precise and concise as possible. And to get that into 300 and 325 words is not easy. It's going to take a little work just to do that. And some of you have probably already experienced in the discussion panel, when you start giving your position on these under-the-radar accounts, what you probably have realized is you can get to 300 words very quickly without even trying. So to fully articulate your position in 325 words takes a little work. So I want you to just work on that as we go through this. The first papers were graded with a great deal of grace, and we'll begin to ease off of that, to wean our way off of that as we go through this. So again, thoroughly summarize and to be as precise and concise as possible, and use Paul Galata's excellent pattern as an example to go through that. And then secondly, I want you to understand a little bit about the reading summaries that will be due in a couple of weeks, and I don't want you to be surprised about that. There are a couple of things with that, but the same sort of mindset is necessary as with these position papers. You've just got 1,250 to 1,500 words on these reading summaries. And so the mental exercise that I want you to do with this is to imagine that Mr. Galata or Mr. Dimsdale, neither one has read this book. And I want you to be able to get all the way through this in 1,250 words. Now, again, that's going to take a little work. So take Mr. Galata's pattern and then write in chapter 1 says blah. Chapter 2 says blah, blah. But I want you to override those words. I don't ever want to see the words chapter 1 says. I just want you to go into it. But just use that as sort of, again, a pattern. So that what I've had students do from time to time is they'll use 750 words on the first 2 chapters. They get into it, they get to cranking on the words out of their laptop, and then all of a sudden they're way too deep into it, and they've got about 250 words left to summarize 8 chapters, and that just will not work. So work through it gently, but do it precisely. So gradually have 2 or 3 sentences that summarize the main points of chapter 1, and then go forth, so forth down the list, and just keep going until you're done. So if you just crank out your first 1,500 words and you've only done through about the first 5 chapters, then you have missed the assignment, and your grade will reflect that. So organize it, get your thoughts together before you start hammering something out on your laptops. But once you get into it, then it'll flow pretty easily. Okay. Again, the idea behind this is to prepare you to be as precise and concise as possible when somebody's asking you something. soundbite, if you will. Understand that there will be no reading assignments accepted, no reading summaries accepted past that the deadline that's listed on the syllabus. There's 115 students, and so our coaches don't have time to be going back and forth and looking at some of these things that come flowing in later. So anyway, that's it for the major things that are going on in this particular week. Some of you have been good about sending me notes or just picking up the phone and calling me. And if you call me, I'll do my best to get back with you as soon as possible. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. Your graders and I, your coaches and I are standing by if you have any questions at all. The last thing, in a forum like this, it's real easy in a classroom to answer questions immediately. In a forum like this, you work according to your own schedule, and then based around the parameters that we have listed for the class. So it's not really work at your own pace. But it's flexible, with the exception of these deadlines. So we stand ready. Ask us questions about anything that you don't understand, and we'll get back with you as soon as we possibly can. All right? God bless you. We'll chat with you soon.